Corsica. There, hundreds of protesters have ignored a recently imposed ban to continue anti-Muslim demonstrations. RT's Daniel Bushell brings us the reasons behind the disturbance.
A new day and a new explosive protest of hate. Furious locals again defy a ban on all demonstrations, with fresh waves of anti-Muslim hatred sweeping this troubled island.
There is no security in poor areas. If the police won't act, we will continue to go out to solve this problem ourselves. We were called racists, fascists and extremists. But this is not about us. We are defending our land, and we don't want any scoundrels in Corsica.
I'm glad the demonstrations are taking place. I was afraid to enter these areas at first, but now I'm happy that we are being heard. But the protests need to be organized properly. They shouldn't spark a greater desire for violence.
Officers put under overnight police protection an entire housing estate home to Muslim residents, plus 5 Islamic prayer halls, most notably this one.
Arabs get out, angry residents chanted as they trashed this prayer house and burnt dozens of Qurans. Raging mobs smashed glass doors, ransacked the property, leaving some 50 vandalized holy books littering the street.
We're one of the very few people to have gained access to the prayer hall since the riots. It's a pretty haunting sight. So some of the Qurans have been returned to their shelves, but the prayer beads still remained scattered across the floor, and the air conditioning unit has simply been ripped off the wall, presumably by the rioters.
Rioters are supposedly avenging an ambush and attack that injured firefighters and police. They blame, quote, hooded youths from this poorer neighbourhood, which has a significant Muslim population. In revenge, protesters have graffitied walls around the city, telling Arabs to leave.
Arab shop owners told me they now bring down the metal grills on their stores early. Better lost profits, they say, than broken doors. But that didn't save this place. It's crime. The name kebab in its title. Punishment: smashed sign, broken heater, damaged lighting, and a destroyed postbox. Things have got so bad, the regional police chief's called a special media conference here at the Central Law Courts to demonstrate he's still in control of a rapidly escalating situation. I'm going to ask him what can he do if the violence continues.
Today we mobilised 2 mobile police squadrons, the riot police and public security personnel. These are fully sufficient to deal with the difficulties we're facing.
Unrest's hardly surprising, some say, after a fiercely nationalist party won unprecedented victory at recent elections in the wake of the Paris massacres. But top officials call these riots disastrous for the island's image and blame both sides for the attacks. And terror experts warn this vicious circle of violence plays straight to the hands of Islamic State, who say they want nothing less than civil war in Europe. France has some 5 million Muslims, one of the largest populations in the EU. Daniel Bushell, RT, on the island of Corsica.
The growth of anti-Islamic sentiment in France started back in January after the Charlie Hebdo terror attack. In the 6 months that followed, the number of reported incidents targeting Muslims rose by almost a quarter, including attacks on mosques, death threats against veiled women and the humiliation of school children. The terror attacks that hit Paris then in November only worsened the situation. Bruno Duresquis from the National Institute of Languages and Eastern Civilizations in Paris, he told us it's going to be difficult to deal with this issue given the divide right now in Corsica and the recent far-right gains in regional elections there.
Situation in Corsica is very bad and there are a lot of tensions there. The problem is how to deal with, on one side, the relation between immigrants and local population, and on the other side, the situation between the separatists, which want to have autonomy or independence for Corsica, and the growing also French nationalism. We have to remember that we had regional election just a couple of weeks ago, and the separatists, the nationalists, did won this election